Hi everyone, Savannah here, and today we're sketching something super tasty in Procreate, this adorable ice cream sandwich. I'm using my free custom brush set and ready to go sketch template, both of which are linked in the description so you can follow along. I'll show you exactly how to build it up from a rough sketch to a finished piece, and it's easier than you think and really satisfying to watch it come together. Let's jump in. Now, if you've been watching these videos for a while, you know I love to start with that background. So go ahead and click into your layers, select the background layer, and find the color palette for the ice cream sandwich. I do also provide this, so that is also listed in the description down below. We're going to go with this lighter purple color for now. Grab a new layer, bring it below the outline layer that I provided for you. We're going to grab this really dark reddish orange color, that circle brush, which again is in my brush pack, and we're going to start doing the sandwich part of this ice cream sandwich. Go ahead and start outlining it, and then we'll fill it in and add details in a second. Now there is a slight color variation with these brushes that is intentional. I did that so that it looks a little bit more painterly. When you're painting, you mix colors. Sometimes it's not always the exact same color, and so that's what I kind of wanted to replicate here. When you're coloring this in, you might have a few dark lines, you might have a few light lines. That's again intentional. We'll blend everything out with new layers. But now let's go ahead and add in a new layer for that bottom sandwich. Bring it below this top layer that we just worked on because we are stacking this ice cream in between those two layers, and go ahead and fill that in. And we're just kind of blocking in the shape of this ice cream sandwich right now. So we have the two sandwich layers, as chocolate layers. We're going to add in the ice cream layer. And then we're also going to add in, I added a little bit of like a chocolate drizzle on top of this ice cream sandwich because it just sounded good to me. I was probably hungry when I thought of this. So we're going to add those layers, and then we'll go in, we'll alpha lock all of those and add the details. So for this ice cream layer, add a new layer, make sure it's between those two sandwich layers, and just pick this white color. Again, we'll add some shadows, we'll add some color variation to this in a second, but right now we're just kind of blocking in the shapes, looking at the outline to see, does this look good to us? Do we want to tweak it? I do tweak it a little bit here as well, so you'll see me turning that top layer, that outline layer off, on and off a couple times just to see, is this a shape how I want it to look? If not, I'm going to tweak it in this phase before I move on to adding details. And now we're adding the chocolate drizzle layer, so add a new layer on top of the ice cream that you just did. Grab this dark red chocolatey color, and then again, just go through the outline, tracing it, filling it in, tweaking it. I kind of adjusted a little bit here even from my template, so feel free to do the same as well. And sometimes I'll keep that top layer, that outline layer, turned off while I'm filling in these colors, because then I can tweak the shape as I'm going along. Sometimes when it's on, it's kind of hard to see the exact outline that I'm working on, especially when I'm working on a darker color. So I usually turn it off. I can also turn it the opacity down, but sometimes, again, that still kind of blocks the outline that I'm filling in. So turning that layer off while you fill it in when you have that basic shape usually helps see how it looks overall. So I'm happy with the general shapes of these objects, so I'm going to go through and alpha lock all of these layers. Again, to alpha lock, you just click the layer, it pops up a menu on the left side, and just select alpha lock. And we're going to work on the ice cream part of this ice cream sandwich. So we're grabbing that kind of pinky mauve color, grabbing that circle blend brush. I'm just adding some shadows to the left side here of the ice cream sandwich. My light source is coming from the right, so I'm making everything on the left side darker as opposed to the right side, it'll be a little bit lighter. So we're going to just build up the color here. We're going to select that mauve color. There's kind of this lightish brown color as well, and then that white color. So again, we're just kind of blending this out based off of where that light source is coming. And feel free to keep adding in layers of color. You'll see me do that in a lot of my videos. I add a bunch of color down and then I'll add in like this white. I just added a lot of mauve, covered it again with this lighter white color. It's a lot of experimenting, a lot of seeing what works for you in the moment. I change my mind sometimes as I'm doing my artwork, even from the initial vision that I have of these pieces. I'll change it in these videos just based on how I feel it's looking. And so feel free to experiment. That's what these brushes are. They're very buildable. So you can add in this color. If you don't like it, you can always add in more of, lighter color, darker color, whatever color you want to add here. They are very buildable, like I mentioned. So you can have a lot of fun here, a lot of mixing here to get it to what you want it to look like. No, I'm happy with how this is looking. I thought it went a little too pink on that left, which is why I added more white back in. But let's go ahead and move on to this chocolate drizzle layer. Grab that kind of lighter mid-tone red color, and I'm adding just a bunch of that to the right side because again, that's where my light source is coming. And then I'm very lightly adding in some spots to the left because I still want a little bit of reflective. It's chocolate that's shiny, and so you want a little bit of that reflectiveness. So I added that a little bit to the left, picked up that very dark chocolate color again. I'm just kind of blending it out, still using that circle blend brush for all of this as I'm blending these colors together. And I am adding a little bit of shadow here. We'll lighten it up in a second, but I'm adding a little bit of shadow here because there will be, depending on where the light's reflecting, there are going to be some shadows as well. So just adding a little bit, we'll lighten it. Like I said, we'll add some highlights to this chocolate layer as well, but I just want to add some shadows first. Now we're using that lighter orange for the highlights, so go ahead and add some lightness to the right side of the chocolate here. Remember, always blending out, so use that kind of base color to blend out. You can use other colors as well, but the base helps blend it out so it's not such a bright spot. And then once you kind of add this orange layer down, we are actually going to make a lighter color. So click into that color disc section, add a lighter orange color, almost white. And we're going to add some markings here. It's going to make it look even glossier and shinier for this chocolate drizzle. And I'm going to go slightly darker with the color when I'm working on the highlights on the left side because they're not going to be as bright as being directly reflected from that light source. So going in a little bit darker still gives it that glossy sheen look, but not as stark as it would be on the right. And then I'm adding just a few drops of that lighter color. So that light color we used on the right side, I'm adding just as the shiniest parts on the left side, just a few sections. Again, we don't want it to be as bright on the left as it is to the right. And so the right side, we will go more white and add some of those spots because again, that's where the light source is coming from. So we want it to be brighter. And now I'm going to add a little bit of that light white color to the ice cream as well. Again, the ice cream is frozen, so it's going to have a little bit of that glossiness to it as well. So I'm just adding in some touches to the ice cream to make it look like it's shiny as well. Now the white is looking a little too stark, so I'm going to grab a color from the ice cream. You do that by holding your finger down on the color you want, wait for it to select that color, and then you can use that to blend out the section a little bit more. So that's what I'm doing to make it not quite as stark, but I still want a little bit of that white to pop through so it looks like it's glistening in that light. And then I'm just going to color pick that mauve pink color. There's a little bit of that shadow missing, I feel like, from this ice cream. So I'm just adding ever so lightly a shadow to the ice cream. And then we'll move on to the cookie part of the sandwich. Okay, so now we're going to work on the sandwich part. Grab that mid orange color, make sure you're still set to circle blend, and we're going to lighten this top part here. Again, making sure that you're following, you can turn that outline layer on, but following that kind of shape. You're going to have a thicker left side here, so that dark brown is going to be thicker on the side to give it that 3D dimension. And then you're going to have a little bit of that in the front as well. So just kind of following the shape here, we're going to add some of those midtones, some of those highlights to this area. So we'll add a little bit of orange here or that lighter orange here to make it bright. Again, that light source is coming from the right. And like we've been doing, we're building up the colors here. So I'm using those three colors as the main colors for this section, making sure again to note that where that light source is, the side here on the right is going to be the lightest side. So keep that in mind. The left side is going to be the darkest because that's going to be in the shadow. And then the top of this ice cream sandwich is going to be a little bit of mixture. So it's going to get light towards the right and a little bit darker towards the left, but we don't want it to go as dark as this left side because there's still a little bit of light hitting across that top. So just keep building up these layers between these colors until it starts looking how you want it to look, and then we'll add some details in a second. And you don't have to stick with just the colors in the color palette. As you've seen throughout this video, I'm pulling in lighter colors, I'm pulling in darker colors from the color wheel. I'm even pulling in colors that have been blended together. So really we're just building up on what the color palette is. The color palette is just kind of a starting point, and then we can use those same colors to go lighter or darker, similar to how I did in these sections. Now I'm just going to add some lighter white details. I'm just going to do a very soft touch with the Apple Pencil. These are pressure sensitive brushes, and so you don't have to press too hard if you want to add a little bit of color. You can experiment. You can do, harder presses if you want more of that color pop in, but I'm just going to do a little bit lighter hand here while I blend out these colors. Again, a lot of what we're doing here is just building on the layers that we are already blending out. It's going to make it blended even better with each step that you do. And so go as much as you want. You can stop at any point if you like how yours is looking. I just like mine to be a little bit more blended. And then I'm just going to take that dark reddish brown color and add the holes here. We'll blend them out a little bit more here in a second, but I'm just kind of placing the holes to where I think it looks the best. Now I'm just going very roughly around those holes that we just created with that same darkish red color. We're still on that circle blend brush and just very lightly adding some more circles around it to give it more definition. Again, we're going to blend it in a little bit more. I'm going to grab that orange that's the same color as the cookie. I will also add some of the colors onto the surface of it because I want it to blend a little bit better. So most of this is going to be that orange color, but then as we get further to the right, it gets lighter. And so I want to pull in some of that lighter color. Otherwise, it's going to look too dark. So we're going to just kind of blend these circles out a little bit more. And then grab a little bit of that light orange color and add a little bit of highlight to the left side here of these holes that we just created to make it look as if that light is hitting that area before it goes down into the hole. And then just adding a few more details here before we go to the bottom part of the sandwich here. Now for the bottom of the sandwich, I'm going to use that mid orange color for it. I'm not going to go as bright because it is lower down. It's going to be a little bit more in the shadows than the upper part, but we'll add a little bit more lightness to this here in a second. But we'll start with that orange color and then build out more light colors on top of it. I'm going to pull a slightly darker color here for the bottom of the sandwich because it is more in the shadows, so you can go a little bit darker here in this section. I'm going to add a little bit of orange just to give it a little bit of variation here on the side. You don't have to if you want. Again, this should be pretty dark in the side here because it is in the shadow. So you can go as heavy-handed with that orange or as light as you want to go with that orange as you want. And same thing here, I'm going to add some of that lighter orange color here because this is getting hit by that light. We want to lighten it up a little bit. Now, same as what we did with the top part here, I'm just adding some of these markings here to make it look like it's got a little bit of like a ruffled edge to this cookie or to the sandwich. And so I'm doing the same thing I did to the top to the bottom here as well. And now I'm just adding a little shadow to the cookie where the ice cream is laying on top of because there will be a little bit of shadow there. And with that, I think this ice cream sandwich is looking pretty good. So we're going to work on the background, add a new layer, bring it below all of the ice cream layers. And let's go ahead and grab this purple color. I'm also going to use the circle brush just to fill in where the shadow is going to go here for this sandwich. And now we're just going to keep building up colors. I'm going to add a little bit of this white color. I'm going to use a circle blend brush. I'm going to add some white color here for kind of where that light source is coming. And then I'm going to blend it out. So I'm just going to keep building up the background color, picking some colors from the color palette. I'm using white. I'm using this purple. I'm going to use a little bit of blue. You'll see where I apply that here in a second. But I'm just building up colors to how I want it to look for this background. And then once we're done with that, we're done with the drawing. And you'll notice my lines aren't straight or going in the direction that I want to in this section. I started kind of turning it a little bit more than I wanted to, so I tried to tweak the shadow to accommodate, but when I zoomed out and looked at it, it didn't quite align with where I did the shadows on the actual ice cream sandwich, and so I go in and change this here in a second. So if you want to do it this way, you can. Just know that I go in and tweak this here in a second. And that's it for today's sketch. I hope you had fun drawing along with me. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment letting me know what you'd love to sketch next. You can grab the free brush set and sketch template in the description, and if you'd like access to bonus sketches and downloadable artwork, take a peek at my Patreon linked below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.